You're listening to UCW Radio.
In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this.
Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy. Don't run when you lose. Don't whine when it hurts.
You know what it takes to sell real estate?
It takes brass.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
All right, welcome to Money Never Sleeps. This is the show where we talk about anything and everything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world. And I want to thank you for tuning in, listening, viewing, and being a part of what we're doing at Money Never Sleeps. We're adding some flavor to the show, bringing on new guests, and basically touching on areas from real estate, finance, small business, large business, manufacturing, technology, across the gambit of all industries to give you a better view other than what you would see elsewhere as far as how things are going and where things are going in these industries. So a lot of interesting things that are occurring right now. If you've opened your paper, saw your news, you know that Dunkin' Brands, that's the parent of Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins, they're setting up to be acquired by the parent company of Arby's and Buffalo Wild Wings. That's Inspire Brands. Interesting deal. It's going to make Dunkin' a private company yet again. They went through this iteration already, but this is just a little bit different because now, as opposed to a private equity firm just taking them in and restructuring them, the company's been restructured. So now it's on a profit tear. Okay, this is about an $8.8 billion deal, and the integration with the other brands is going to be interesting. The digital transformation with Dunkin' is what is helped bring its value. The drive-throughs, the quick service, the low cost of entry as a franchisee. That has had Dunkin' Brands booming this year. Believe it or not, when other companies have been suffering, other restaurant brands have been suffering and hurting, and of course, local restaurants hurting, they found a way to make things work. And I think they took a couple of pages out of a few of the companies' playbooks. In March, look, Dunkin' Brands, they were trading as low as $41 a share. As of Friday, it closed close to $90 a share. Now, you're talking about a lot of movement this year, okay? But the profit margins and everything is basically justifying it. People see what's happening. And of course, Inspired Brands saw this as well. If they didn't, they wouldn't be paying a 20% premium based on Friday's close. Okay, we're talking about, again, a stock that was trading at 41 to a stock that closed at 90, close to 90, and is looking to be acquired or purchased for a 20% premium based on Friday's close. That's an amazing growth. That's an amazing story. Investors, they're gonna have a nice payday, and that's gonna make Dunkin' Brands private. Now, will it ever go public again? We don't know. With the way Dunkin' Brands, the history of the company has been, it could be possible. But then again, what they have in play right now makes the company very interesting. And I think the growth potential for the company going into 2021 is going to be tremendous. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Starbucks. They've also made a good run. They're in the same space, same space, but just they're focused on different things. Dunkin' Brands is focused on the lower priced, quick service, get up and go type of deal. Starbucks is more of a premium brand, and they made a good run itself in this year. Okay, in March, when the pandemic hit, the stock was as low as $57 a share. Both companies had to pivot in order to thrive in the new normal, this new reality that we're in. Starbucks has been bumping up their digital footprint over the past year, closing down locations. They took the opportunity to downsize while transforming the other locations to drive-through situations, which again, you have as close to a contactless environment as possible, quicker service, in and out. The only thing is, people that go to Starbucks is like a lifestyle. You go there, have your latte, you sit down in a nice chair, you have your Wi-Fi, you stay there for a couple hours, you chit chat with your friends, you sit down on a couch, but that stuff is not there right now. So they had to pivot, because there's still a great demand for what Starbucks offers. People don't have a problem paying 5, 7, $8 for a large venti coffee, latte, or whatever fancy name they want to use. But the bottom line is there is a market for it, and I think that they will continue to thrive. Slightly different business model than Dunkin' Brands, but Starbucks has a lot of legs. It's going to be very interesting. So look, if that's the tale of what the retail, especially in the food industry, what they need to do in order to thrive, then more restaurant chains, big and small, they need to follow suit. They need to do something, because the reality is that this is a new normal. This is our new reality. So either you adjust, or you wind up losing more, potentially failing, and you could go out of business. And I feel for the small businesses that are out there, the small restaurants that are out there that are going to have a problem complying to this. But I even think that small businesses, if they beef up their digital footprint, they'll have a fighting chance. And I think that's important, to go and beef up your digital footprint. If you do that, and you make it easier for people to go and order from your place, and you have delivery, and you have things of that nature. If you have a potential drive-through, you do that. Things like that can help a small business to survive during this time. All right, Dunkin's going private, and integrating what inspires other brands is going to be very interesting. Coffee in itself is an extremely high margin business, but Dunkin's, unlike Starbucks, is mostly built on franchisees, not company stores. And with Dunkin' Brands, this is why I said the growth is going to continue, because as long as the buy into a franchise is cheap enough to allow someone to embrace the American dream by being an entrepreneur, and they work on that business model that keeps the margins high, helps to keep the sales high, then you will have some serious growth as we're going into right now. Look, we're going into fall. We're in the end we're towards the tail end of October, going into November. Flu season is upon us, and the spread of COVID is nowhere near over. We're going to see spikes here, spikes there. Is going to continue to happen, and it's inevitable. We see it in Europe now. We're going to see it again here in the U.S. And as people are pointing fingers, is this one's fault, that one, is President Trump, it's this is Biden, is this, as people are blaming everybody. The bottom line is, do you really think that one country, one person could have prevented this? That's BS. Impossible. This is something that's happening. Okay, the Spanish flu, 1918, it took out a lot of people. Of course, they didn't have the technology they have today, but come on, you had what, 500 million people that got infected. I mean, this is where we're at, where we are at right now. Having a vaccine, having all this stuff, having a cure, something like that is going to take a lot of time. Okay, having a vaccine, yeah, having something that can be utilized to help to combat it, great. We're humans, so our body has to build an immunity to these things, and the reality is we're always going to get sick at some point. A flu, a cold, and COVID is something that, yeah, that's something that they have to actually put a lot of focus on, not just the United States, but the world. Come together, come up with solutions, so that we can prevent more lives from being lost. And that's the reality of it. Now, in this realm that we're in right now, and because the pandemic is, we're going to go straight into 2022 with everything, and I know it's going to happen. And this is why companies like Microsoft, Slack, Zoom, and even Mega Hoots Vera Hive division, what I'm actually streaming from right now, this these will thrive in 2021 because there is a big need for these services as remote offices, schooling, learning, and meetings continue to rise. And this is where we're at. This is what's going to happen because you're going to have. I'm sure that they're going to start having a balanced type of situation where you go to the office maybe a couple days a week. The rest of the time you're working from home. You have certain tech companies that are telling workers you can work home permanently, like Microsoft. You can work home permanently. Okay, Facebook, you can stay home until whenever. Twitter, stay home, work from home, for the rest of next year. And it's going to continue to happen like that. And what's going to happen? You're going to have how how we live change and where we live change. Okay, back in the 1920s, 30s, that type of thing, when the automobiles became really when they started building up, what that did, that changed how we live. It gave us mobility. That was you had roads being built where the first highway that was built and believe it or not, this is a fun fact, that was built to accommodate cars was the Bronx River Parkway. You can look that up. Okay. But when all this stuff happened, it changed how we live. We went from cities where in the cities you had access to stores, you can walk, take trains, buses, the trolley, whatever it is, and you can do that. But with the car now, with the automobile, you're able to travel and go and basically live in the suburbs and get to work by car. And what's happening now, there's going to be a big pivot. People are, if they're able to work remotely and with 5G imminent, and that's going to be a slow rollout, but it will roll out, you're going to have people looking for better quality of life for their families. As long as they know they can go work, somewhere else and have the life they want, have some land, some fresh air, things of that nature, you're going to see more of that happening. Interesting times we're in, no question about it. We've seen great success, the great success that Domino's had. When they incorporated digital to their business model, it was very, very interesting because no one believed that it was worth it. You know, uh, Tom Monahan, he knew it was the right thing to do. He knew this was the future. People are like, wow, you're spending too much money on that. Yeah, it's not worth it. So on and so forth, and it just kept going on. The bottom line is he was ahead of his time. Built built a digital footprint that basically everyone's trying to catch up now. All right, right now, he's retired. He was right on point. Now the reins have shifted to Richard Allison. So let's see what he's going to do. And Bain Capital now owns Domino's. Private company for now, but keep in mind when private equity gets involved in these situations, they take the companies in, they restructure them, they make them profitable, and then at some point in time, you'll see these companies public again, and a lot better and a lot stronger for the future. I think um, we're going to see additional expansion and embracing the delivery model across a lot of different brands. Look, it's Domino's has shown is profitable. we see what's happening. Well, with Domino's, look, they were dwarfing Papa John's and Little Caesars. Pizza. They were going and doing all this. They're still doing it, and I think a lot of other groups right now, companies, they are beginning to see that this is the way. This is the path to go. Now, I want to shift to the world of big tech. They're being looked at, I mean, harshly right now, and basically being put to the test on Capitol Hill, due in part to the censorship of specific user content. Like Twitter, they blocked the New York Post from an article they wrote, from that being shown on Twitter. Then Facebook followed suit. It was one of those things, like it's like follow the leader. Uh, the reality is, the point of all of this and the censorship is that the groups that can do this are media companies, such as newspapers, magazines, TV stations, so on and so forth. The reason they do this and they can censor content is because they're liable. Something comes out on their network and their paper, they can be sued. They can be sued. They can be sued. And they're media companies, they can be sued. But Twitter and Facebook claim not to be a media company, but act as if they are. And they're protected by Section 230. That's why they're trying to adjust all that, because there's something, it's like having loopholes in the tax code. There are loopholes here that have to be tightened up to keep an even playing field. Either you're going to censor everyone or you censor no one. Okay, I know. I mean, keeping the platform safe and secure, and stopping hate speech. Yeah, I'm all for that. But when you have other things that are popping up, and I mean, is it your obligation to fact check things? Google is now fact checking videos to make sure that this is right and that is wrong. I mean, if you're doing that, then you are a media company, and act as so, and designate yourself as so, and be part of, or be held to the same standards as other media companies. This is my opinion. Okay, you can't act one way and say you're something else just to protect yourself from liability, either censor or not. But it needs to be across the board, as I said. So, that classification has to become clear, has to be clear at some point, and I think that's what they're looking to do on Capitol Hill. And also, one other thing that big tech is dealing with, you got Google, Apple, Microsoft. They're getting hit with antitrust lawsuits. It's not new news. They've been dealing with this thing for a very long time. So don't expect a breakup of these companies anytime in the near or late future. It's not going to happen. They're not going to be forced to. The days of Rockefeller and Standard Oil, U.S. Steel, all this stuff, that's different. These companies, they're not going to be forced to break up, because it would be very difficult to do, and it would take a very long time to happen. And before that happens, trust me, they're going to spin out these companies at their discretion, but they're not going to be forced to break up. Okay, Google may spin out YouTube to generate additional value. Facebook may spin out Instagram to generate additional value, but Facebook did something interesting. They integrated the Messenger and the IG Messenger with their Facebook Messenger, and they're going to integrate that into WhatsApp at some point, and it's going to be different, and it's going to be very difficult for that company to split apart. Okay, I don't think it's the smartest move unless you're going to make Messenger its own thing, but it's connected within the ecosystem. So let's see what happens there. Anyway, moving on. I will say this, that, and I this is not a paid promotion here. I just know it to be factual. Okay, for traders that, or traders, that people that want to be traders, that want to learn, market rebels. With Pete and John and Jerry, and they know what they're doing when it comes to that. They know what to look for. You follow the money, you do this, and they give you great ideas and great things to look at so you can learn. And what Market Rebels is doing, they're ramping up. They're doing a lot of things there, adding a lot of tools for traders and investors to benefit from what's happening. All right, being educated, being well informed is key, and that's what you want to do here. Okay, so I just want to throw that in there as I'm moving forward and coming towards the end of the show. Now, I want to talk about earnings that are on tap for today. They include Boyd Gaming. Look, the gaming industry, casinos have been devastated. Devastated. Boyd Gaming is no different. They're looking at negative growth of 30%. They're getting charred like everyone else. But there's still the whisper number is 14 cents a share, so we'll see how that works out. That's going to happen after the close. A company that I like is Twilio. The whisper number is negative 3 cents, but you can't even look at that. Their growth is over 36%. Their growth is going to continue to happen this year, 21, 22, and it's going to continue to happen because what they provide, their platform, allows other companies to grow. That is a key thing. They have a platform that is like the foundation of building buildings and building cities. So they're not going anywhere, and they're actually going to continue to grow. Same thing with Amazon's AWS. They have a platform. They have the foundation for other cities for cities and to build on, digital cities to build on. Okay, and that is one of the key things. And Google has that too, and Microsoft has that too. So, it's just, I mean, don't look at the negative um, earnings on the company because I guarantee you they're reinvesting in all this growth, and it's just one of those stories. Just like Amazon would reinvest in the company and help it to grow. This is the same thing you're seeing with Twilio. So, but I look forward to seeing great things from them in the coming, well, year on year. I look to see that. I want to see that big growth, and it's going to continue to happen, especially now. NXP Semiconductors, the whisper number is $1.53 a share, negative growth of 11%. That's always concerning. When the semiconductor business is constantly changing, it's always in flux, always advancing. So we'll see what happens there. And the last one for after the close today is Heartland Financial. Heartland, the whisper number is 92 cents with growth over 200%. That caught my eye. That was very interesting. So we'll see how these companies fare today, and if the numbers are what the projections set out to be. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I want to thank you guys again for tuning in, for listening to the show, and we're gonna have something at some point. We'll see how we're gonna work it out to have some questions, from some of our guests. So can't tell you how it's going to happen, but it'll happen. We'll figure it out. All right. But anyway, I want you guys to have a fantastic day, and we'll be back with you for another episode of Money Never Sleeps. Within this week. We're going to have a couple more shows this week. All right. Thank you for tuning in.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
All opinions expressed by Luis Velazquez on the Money Never Sleeps radio show and its website are solely his opinions and do not reflect the opinions of the UCW radio show or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated by him on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by him as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. His opinions are based upon information he considers to be reliable, but neither the UCW radio show nor its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. The UCW radio show, Luis Velazquez, its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on the radio show or on the website. His statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No part of his compensation from the UCW radio show is related to the specific opinions he expresses. Please read the full disclaimer on MoneyNeverSleepsRadio.com.